Week 4 of the NFL season is in the books, which means it is time for some updated NFL power rankings as we get into Week 5. Tom Downey here. We'll go from worst to first in the Chat Sports AP poll style rankings, and there is a new number 32 team, the Jacksonville Jags. Boy, things don't look good. You know what? In recent games, even years to an extent, felt like, it was Trevor Lawrence not getting enough help from his supporting cast. I thought Lawrence actually was just pretty bad last week. Way too many missed opportunities there. Very worried about Jacksonville. Feels like when, not if, they make some regime changes down south. Number 31, the Tennessee Titans. They beat the Miami Dolphins, but the Dolphins also don't have Tua, and that offense is terrible without them. Also, Mason Rudolph played. He didn't play great in place of the injured Will Levis. Still plenty of concerns there. I will say, by the way, as we get from 31 to 30, the Carolina Panthers, there is very little separation between a lot of these one-loss teams. So if you want to bump them up 3 spots, that's fine. There's a pretty clear-cut number 32. I mean, truly, 30, 29, 31, 28, all separated by a couple votes, if that. Carolina's at 30. They've been more competitive on offense with Andy Dalton, which does not bode well for the Bryce Young era. Who do you think is the worst team right now in the NFL? Is it Jacksonville or somebody else altogether? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Number 29, the New England Patriots. Part of the reason why maybe you're not playing Drake May is you're kind of offering up Jacoby Brissett as a sacrificial lamb because the playmaking is not good enough at receiver, and the offensive line's pretty banged up and also not that good anyway. You're kind of sacrificing Brissett to the football gods to keep Drake May upright. At some point, though, I think that will change. There remain some pretty big disagreements about the number 28 ranked Miami Dolphins. In particular, not that many teams above the 25, or voters, I should say, above the 25 spot. Does Tua come back? If Tua comes back, this offense can get going again. But the Skylar Thompson, Tyler Huntley desperation combination isn't getting good results, and teams know that they can't run the ball up the middle, and it's causing issues across the board. I think Miami became a bit too much of a, Flanderization of themselves of speed. Real concerns there around the Miami Dolphins. They got their butts kicked by the Tennessee Titans. They need to get Tua back healthy, or it's going to be a long season. They might not get him back healthy for obvious reasons. The New York Jets, the New York Giants, number 27. We'll get to the Jets later on. My bad. Daniel Jones was good, except we're going to go put the ball further than 20 yards downfield. The defense is solid. Malik Neighbors is awesome. Hopefully he gets back from his concussion soon. The Giants' ceiling just feels very limited with DJ at quarterback. The Cleveland Browns at number 26 on the list. That really wasn't Deshaun's fault last week. A huge play called back on a touchdown to Amari Cooper. A pick to Amari Cooper that wasn't his fault, bounced off Cooper's chest. Browns' offensive line remains banged up. The defense has been solid, but the vibes are not great in Cleveland. The Raiders at number 25 on this list. They had that big-time win over the Baltimore Ravens earlier this year. They keep finding ways to fight and scrape and claw. To beat the Browns, out Adams, out Max Crosby, it's actually, I think, a pretty big win for Vegas and head coach Antonio Pierce. Now, if you want to wait to the end of the video to grade our power rankings, that is fine. But just head to the pinned comment, whatever you want to grade our NFL power rankings this week. If the ad comes on YouTube now or even later on in the video, it's a great time to go do it. Head down to the pinned comment and vote A, B, C, D, or F. Number 24, the Los Angeles Rams. Talk about injuries decimating a team and a unit overall. The offense is so banged up. They just don't have enough playmakers when you're down. Top 3 playmakers, receivers, tight ends. It's Stafford's doing what he can. The defense also is just not very good without Aaron Donald. The Cardinals at number 23. I think they will still have moments of being that fun, scrappy team. I like what they're doing on offense. They had a tough go against the Commanders, which was pretty concerning there for Arizona. But that defense is bad. It's a bad defense, and they just don't have the pieces yet on that side of the ball. Speaking of the opposite, the Denver Broncos defense is good. They might be actually really good. Now, the weather was not great against the Jets. That's fine. But at number 22, Denver found a way to win a game with negative passing yards in the first half from Bo Nix. I know that it's happened at some point. But when was the last time it happened? It had to have been like what? Back when the forward pass was only new to the game? That was a wild game and a huge win for Denver and Sean Payton. Number 21, the Indianapolis Colts. We'll see when Anthony Richardson's able to come back. Hopefully it's a short-term injury because he needs the reps. Jonathan Taylor is now banged up as well. They're I think they're going to be around a 500 team. So that puts them at about number 21. At number 20, the Chicago Bears, still waiting on the true Caleb Williams breakout game. The play calling and offensive line might be a huge issue in that area. But the Bears' defense remains competitive and feisty and, frankly, just a good defense overall. Again, they should be an around 500 team. The Bengals finally got their first win of the season. That puts the number 19 ranked team as the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, it might be too little too late. It's really hard to make a playoff run at the beginning of the year 0-3. If anyone can do it, it's one of the teams that did it. Happened 6 times in the Super Bowl era. One of them, the Bengals. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. If you're trying to go to a game for your favorite team, you got to use the Game Time app. They have a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to your favorite teams play live even easier. It filters out the fluff to only show you the incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. Just know you're getting the best deal possible with Game Time. It's curation designed to save you money on football tickets, maybe some MLB postseason tickets, NBA once that comes back, college football, comedy, concerts, theater, and more. And the Game Time guarantee is this. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. That way you know you're getting the best price possible. So download the Game Time app today, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, ChatSports, for $20 off. Download Game Time today because time is it? It's Game Time. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Number 18, the New York Football Jets. That was a bad game from Aaron Rodgers. The offensive line is not great. And Denver's a bad matchup for New York because they can just put Patrick Surtain on Garrett Wilson, and then it's Mike Williams, Alan Lazard, tested catch balls, which was not great, and the weather was not good either. Jets, some concerns there. The Chargers dropped down to number 17 in our power rankings after a hard-fought but competitive loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll talk about the Chiefs, of course, later on in today's show. I think LA is going to be a feisty team under Jim Harbaugh, but I don't know if they're going to end up being a true playoff contender. Number 16, the Dallas Cowboys. It wasn't pretty. They got that ugly Thursday night win. The offense is still, I think, missing a piece or two. The defense now down Micah Parsons and Tank Lawrence for at least a few weeks. Some tough games coming up, by the way. Steelers, Lions, bye week, Niners. Not going to be easy. Number 15, the Green Bay Packers. That was a weird game from Jordan Love. He actually made some good throws and just had some bad ones in there as well. Almost matched with the comeback as well. The defense has concerns, maybe more than anything else there. Still think Love is not quite 100%, but they're going to push for a playoff spot. Now, if you want NFL Power Rankings every week on Tuesday morning until we get into playoff picture time, then subscribe. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Number 14, the New Orleans Saints. 2 great weeks and then 2 not so great weeks in back-to-back efforts there. You're at the quarter-way mark. Sometimes you know what a team is. Sometimes you don't. Still not sure how good the Saints actually are. The Eagles are number 13, but that was a bad performance against the Bucs. Now, I am not in the same freak-out category over Jalen Hurts as I know some Eagles fans are. Look, you were down A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Lane Johnson. I don't, against a Todd Bowles defense. That's just a bad combination. Now, overall concerns, sure. You know, it's not Hurts' fault that Dallas Goedert dropped a dime that could have extended a drive. He also just didn't play great. So I'm not out on Hurts yet, but it is a potential concern. The turnovers, it's got to stop. Number 12, the Atlanta Falcons. You know, they've actually played a pretty good schedule. All things considered, like they lost the Chiefs on a narrow one that, hey, maybe it was actually closer than it should have been. They lost to the Steelers. They've beaten the Eagles and the Saints. Those are legitimately 4 potential playoff teams. So that's why they're one of the higher ranked 2-2 squads. The Commanders at number 11. They have won 3 straight games, and Jaden Daniels looks awesome. And what I'm about to say in no way diminishes how excited I am about Jaden Daniels as the future of Washington, and hopefully he stays healthy and is the guy that we all think he's going to be based on what we've seen so far. I also think, maybe not so much this week, it's about to get more challenging for Washington. Objectively speaking, the Giants' defense is more importantly, the Bengals and Cardinals' defenses are bad, and they can't stop the run very well. So what happens when the Commanders, much like we've seen with the Saints, aren't playing with easy 6, 7, 8-yard pickups on first down, 5-yard pickups? What happens? They have to be a more true drop-back passing team. How does the Cliff Kingsbury offense look then? Can the defense hold up, which I still think is a pretty big question mark. So what do you think about the Commanders, who lead the NFC East right now, by the way? And the NFC East curse means Dallas won't win it. So it will be Commanders for Philadelphia. Are they contenders or pretenders? C or P in the comments section. The Pittsburgh Steelers, number 10. They slide down slightly after the loss to the Indianapolis Colts. But Justin Fields had a better game. The comedy-esque fumble aside, he had much more success through the air against a overall shaky Colts defense. Like, they can't stop the run very well, and they don't have great corners beyond the nickel anymore. Good test coming up against the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. The Seattle Seahawks, number 9. The offense is good. Geno Smith is awesome. And in most games, you kind of feel like the Seahawks defense did enough to win and beat the Lions on Sunday Night Football. Because 29 points should get your wins, right? Geno Smith is legitimately a really good quarterback. And the whole Sam Howell's going to start stuff was crazy. He threw for 395 yards. But Jared Goff was literally perfect in that game, and the defense didn't do much. Number 8, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a nice win over Philadelphia. Good win, quality win. Baker Mayfield's playing some great football, and that bodes really well for Tampa. The Niners at number 7, I think they had the get-right game at the right time of the year against the New England Patriots. They dropped 30. The passing offense still looks just a little bit off. Not bad, but just not quite clicking at this time. Like, Ayuk and Debo have not been as productive. Juwan Jennings was, again, the number 1 wide receiver, which was pretty interesting. But the Niners, as they get healthier, hopefully, should be in pretty good shape. The Ravens skyrocket up the rankings because they didn't just beat the Buffalo Bills. They beat the crap out of them. 35-10, exposing, I think, some potential concerns that were underlying but there for the Buffalo Bills. Lamar Jackson was 13 of 18. Derrick Henry ran for 199 yards on 24 carries. It's back-to-back games. The Baltimore Ravens have put up over 270 yards on the ground. It is a pass-happy league. If you're doing that, you're going to win a ton of football games. After a bad loss against the Raiders and a narrow loss against the Chiefs, the Ravens look back. The Houston Texans, they have survived some games. I am at Houston Texans at number 5, by the way. I am willing to acknowledge that narrow wins over the Colts and Bears, a bad loss against the Vikings, narrow win over the Jags. They get the Bills, by the way, this week, which is it's a rare 1 p.m. kick for Houston and Buffalo. Is going to be a very, very good football game. The ground game's not been very good for Houston outside of week 1. It's a slight concern there. The Detroit Lions at number 4, the Jared Goff led. It was perfect. 0 incompletions. One of them was going to buy a flag, but who cares? It still counts. It's the equivalent of a perfect game for the NFL. It doesn't happen hardly ever in like actual pass counts. Outside of like, threw it 5 times or whatever in backup relief. Very impressed by Detroit. They are one of the best teams in the NFC. The Bills at number 3, they do slide down a little bit after the loss against the Baltimore Ravens. There was, in this kind of range, the Lions, the Texans, the Bills, all these 3-1 teams, not much separation between them. Do keep that in mind. But it's the 2 undefeated teams that take the top spot. The last 2 undefeated teams. At number 2, the Minnesota Vikings. They got up big against the Packers, nearly blew it, and then held on. Sam Darnold has not made as many Darnold-esque throws that we've been accustomed to. Those like head-scratching moments, they've all gone to Will Levis, it seems like. But the Vikings look good, and that defense is fun and very challenging, especially in the regular season. So are you buying the Minnesota Vikings right now? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. That leaves number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. Until they lose a game, I am not going to change my rankings. Other people might. That's fine. There were 2 people who kept them out of the number 1 spot. That's fine. But they're still the consensus number 1. Yeah, they're going to be down Rashee Rice for what seems like the year, which is a pretty big loss there. But it's the Chiefs. It's Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. They'll find a way to keep winning football games and make some noise come playoff time.